This weekend, the baseball team has another 4-game series in front of the home crowd. Central Michigan comes to town following an 0-4 weekend at UNLV. The Chippewas came to Troy 2 years ago, with Troy winning the series 2-1. Troy will be looking for the 4-game sweep this weekend, and Coach Pierce says his team has some things to work on going into the second weekend.
Now that we've got those first game jitters out, settle in, go back and look at the tape, start seeing some things that each guy needs to work on individually, give that to him and that challenge to him for this week, which we should have a great week of weather. And we've been, the last couple of weeks we've had some real weather issues as far as getting on the field and getting in that real groove, but it's a great week coming up after a pretty good weekend at home. So I'm looking forward to that and settling in with these guys and really getting to work on some things that they've shown that they need to get better at.
And the series begins Friday at 6 with a doubleheader scheduled to start Saturday at 1, followed by the Sunday finale that starts at 11 a.m. The Trojans will then play its first midweek game as well as a road game of the season on Tuesday night as they face Florida A&M. Troy will travel to Tallahassee and face the Rattlers beginning at 4.
The softball team will be hitting the road again for tournament action in Florida at the Lipton Invitational hosted by the University of Florida. The Trojans' first action will be early on Friday with a game against Georgia Southern before facing Florida for the first of 2 meetings in the tournament. The Gators are the top-ranked team in the country, and this will be the first time Troy has ever faced Florida. On Saturday, the Trojans will have 2 more on the slate, with Coastal Carolina up first, then a rematch against the Gators. On Sunday, the Trojans will wrap up their tournament action against Indiana in an early game at 8:30 a.m.
The men's basketball team looks to regroup this weekend as it takes on an in-state rival with conference seeding on the line. The Trojans will be in Mobile on Saturday to take on South Alabama starting at 7:05. Troy picked up a win over the Jags just over 2 weeks ago in Troy by a score of 79-74. And Troy currently sits in 8th in this conference, with only the top 8 teams making it to New Orleans for the Sun Belt Tournament. So any game here on out will be an important one for Troy's chances to make it to some March Madness. And next Thursday, the Trojans will be back at home as they face Arkansas Little Rock. Troy took down UALR in Little Rock earlier this year. That game is scheduled to start at 7 in Trojan Arena.
The women's team will be on the road this weekend, but not far from home, taking on South Alabama on Saturday. The Trojans won the previous matchup between the teams earlier this month in Trojan Arena 78-53. Both teams are 5-8 in conference play, but the Trojans are currently in 6th in the conference, with the Jags coming in at 8th. The Jaguars have lost their last 4, with the Trojans having won 5 of their last 8. Saturday's matchup is set for tip-off at 5 in Mobile. Then on Wednesday night, the Trojans will be in action at home with a solo performance on Wednesday night. UALR will be in town and is currently 8-5 in the league and have won their last 3. Earlier in the year, the Trojans lost 69-52 in Little Rock. Wednesday's game will be at 7.
The rodeo team will be back in action this weekend for the first time this spring. Troy's women's team was first in 3 out of 4 competitions throughout the fall, including winning the Trojan Stampede, and is leading the region with over 1,000 points earned. The men's highest ranking in the fall was 5th in the competition at Murray State. The men's team holds 7th place in the region with a score of 615 points. The Trojans head to Texarkana, Arkansas to compete at the Cossatot Community College Rodeo starting February 20th and ending on the 23rd.
The Trojan track and field team will be in Birmingham on Monday and Tuesday for the Sun Belt Conference Indoor Championships. The Trojans have competed at the Birmingham Crossplex already this season and have been seeing improvements throughout the season. Following this meet, the Trojans will begin the outdoor season on March 7th.
Both the men's and women's tennis teams have a busy weekend ahead as they make their way down to Louisiana for a pair of matches. Both teams will face Nicholls State on Saturday before heading to the Big Easy to face the University of New Orleans on Sunday. And that's all the time we have for Trojan Sports Now. You can watch us online at the Troy University YouTube page to catch anything you missed.
For Jonathan Sellers, I'm Danielle Percival. Thanks for watching, and as always,
go Trojans.
Trojan Sports Now.